The 2019-2020 NBA regular season started just like most every other one of the previous 73 seasons did, but nobody could have seen coming what happened near the end of the season. This 2019-2020 campaign was unlike any other. The NBA even created a new marketing campaign under the whole new game slogan, because the last month of the regular season and the whole 2020 playoffs were a whole new thing unlike anything we had ever seen. Given how different it was, it'll stand out as the most particular NBA season of all time and go down in history. But why exactly will it be so memorable as the league and the NBA community look to move forward? Join us now as we take a look at how the 2019-2020 NBA season changed the NBA forever, and how it altered the professional basketball landscape in ways that make it nearly impossible for the league to recover quickly. The whole madness started on March 11, 2020. The Utah Jazz were scheduled to face the Thunder in Oklahoma City. After the starting lineups were announced, players warmed up on the floor as they always do. The referee crew was spotted having a lengthy, serious conversation, after which they sent both teams back to their locker rooms and they walked off the floor as well. The Thunder mascot and their hype crew tried to keep the capacity crowd at Chesapeake Energy Arena entertained, and they even moved their halftime show up. But roughly 35 minutes after the scheduled tip-off set time, the PA announcer informed fans the game had been postponed due to unforeseen circumstances. Shortly after, the NBA announced it was suspending its season after an originally unnamed Jazz player had tested positive. That player was later revealed to be center Rudy Gobert, who wasn't at the arena for the game but did make the trip to Oklahoma City and had been in contact with his teammates. It was later revealed that fellow star teammate Donovan Mitchell had gotten the virus from Gobert. Mitchell was furious. Their relationship was at the time reported to be irreparable and forever broken. Other players like Christian Wood, Marcus Smart, and even Kevin Durant tested positive soon after. And these were the few first catastrophic events that created never-ending trouble for other players, the league office, and fans alike. It took a couple of months of brainstorming for the NBA to come up with a solution to their unfinished season. We all knew a bit more about the virus and that a vaccine would at best take months and months, if not a couple of years, for it to be available worldwide. So the league had no choice but to look at ways to restart the season. However, a lot of things had happened since the mid-March stoppage. Social justice and racial equality protests were fueled by the death of George Floyd, a black man choked out by a police officer. NBA players, most of whom belonged to the black community, were outraged and wondered if restarting the season wouldn't take away from other important issues and from them making a stand on what truly matters, saving lives and raising awareness. Thus, the league and players union agreed on restarting the season inside an exclusive bubble, and the league would provide the players the opportunity to spread messages of love, inclusion, equality, and justice. That's how the NBA bubble was formed. Some 2 to 3 weeks before the official season restart, NBA teams began arriving to the bubble and getting acclimated to an isolated life where they only had their teammates and basketball. Each team played some warm-up games before they could complete the remainder of the season. Given not all 30 NBA teams were there, the 22 clubs invited wouldn't play out all their remaining games, as the league instead created a new calendar for the remainder of the season. In a common NBA season, each of the 30 teams plays 82 games in a span of approximately 6 months. In total, there are 1,230 games played each season between all teams combined, plus the NBA playoffs. In the 2019-2020 regular season, teams in the bubble played between 71 and 75 total games, while the 8 that weren't invited played between 63 and 67. In total, there were only 1,059 NBA games this season, 171 less than normal. This, of course, was a big financial blow to the league's revenue, as was the investment on the creation of the bubble and its maintenance. But the losses were much less than what they would have been had they not finished the season and playoffs at all. The rest of the regular season played out to perfection, as fans were very excited for the run at the 7th and 8th seeds in the Western Conference in the newly introduced play-in game system. This gave the league a breath of fresh air and innovation that made fans tune in and remain excited. The league started its first round of the playoffs as planned in mid-August, but the biggest blow of them all was still to come. On August 26th, near the end of the first round of the playoffs, the Milwaukee Bucks led a player strike and didn't show up to play for their Game 5 against the Orlando Magic. They were protesting the police shooting of Jacob Blake, yet another African-American victim in Wisconsin. The league announced that in light of the Bucks' strike, the following day's games were postponed. Players felt guilty and powerless. Efforts that were supposed to raise awareness and stop police brutality and racial inequality appeared to be useless, as black victims continued to perish. Games continued being postponed the following days as players and the league office discussed what was next for the NBA. LeBron James and most of the eventual 2020 NBA champions, the Los Angeles Lakers, were ready to walk out of the bubble and cancel the season. So were the Los Angeles Clippers. They felt providing entertainment and distractions when stuff like that kept happening to their brothers and sisters outside of their professional sports bubble, and this time it was literally, was the wrong thing to do. The players' union was in a huge conflict, as some of them wanted to finish out what was left of their season, while others were ready to go back home. That's when NBA Players Association President Chris Paul and LeBron James reached out to former US President Barack Obama for advice. Also in the call, Obama recalls, were Carmelo Anthony, Andre Iguodala, and Russell Westbrook. One of the reasons James and other players had voted against continuing the season was that the Bucks strike, even though it was well-intentioned, had no plan of action. Obama was in favor of the players resuming the season once players could work with team owners to come up with actionable items that could affect a positive change. Obama said protest was useful in terms of raising awareness, but NBA players had the power to start asking for more specific actions to be taken. LeBron James and Barack Obama later appeared in James's barbershop-themed show called The Shop. And LeBron said, when there's things going on, when it's chaos, when people don't know which move to make or how to handle a situation, the best thing you can do is have someone that you can talk to and give you guidance, and have that type of leadership. That someone special for NBA players turned out to be Mr. Obama. I'm lucky enough to have a friend that gave us those words of leadership and those words of saying, okay, this can be a plan of action. This can be something you guys can ask for. And if we can get that, then we can continue to push the needle and you guys can also continue the season as well. 2 days after the initial strike, players agreed to resume the season after a call with owners in which they came up with 3 initiatives: forming a social justice coalition, converting team arenas and facilities into mass voting sites for the upcoming elections, and the creation of public service announcements aired during playoff games by the league's TV partners promoting civic engagement and voting opportunity awareness. J.R. Smith led efforts to make sure his own team, the Lakers, were all registered to vote, and then spread out the message for every team to ensure their players were all registered in their cities. Now, I did have a selfish reason, Obama said about taking the call with James and other NBA players. And I told all these guys, y'all need to set up a more permanent structure so you don't call me at midnight. The former president's message was clear. Permanent action is needed to create permanent change. The league was able to conclude the playoffs in successful fashion, and the 2019-20 season ended with the Lakers as record-tying 17-time NBA champions. In the 3+ month existence of the NBA bubble, there wasn't a single positive case registered. These were outstanding results, given pretty much every other professional league around the world and in the US that resumed their play had multiple positive cases. The next challenge ahead was determining how to start the 2020-2021 NBA season. The league's schedule got completely messed up. A normal season usually lasts from mid-October to mid-June, when the NBA Finals end, roughly an 8-month period. The 2019-2020 season lasted 355 days between opening night and Game 5 of the 2020 NBA Finals. Almost a full year. They were supposed to be near the start of next season when the finals ended. This brings a bunch of timing issues for the league to solve, but time isn't the only valuable thing the league lost. NBA arena revenue makes up about 40% of the league's total income. Without fans filling arenas and the NBA losing out on so much money, how could the league pay its players the amounts that had already been agreed in contracts and with previous salary cap predictions? What would happen with the 2020 free agents? More complex problems involved both time and money, as the league has an urgency to start the 2020-2021 season on the 2020 Christmas Day. But players believe it's too early and prefer a mid-January start. That month's difference in start time would cost the league about $500 million in revenue. But how can the league start their season when half its players aren't willing to play as early on? I'm cherry-picking the whole first half of the season, LeBron James said with a laugh. He's alluding to the huge workload him and players from the 2 teams that made it to the 2020 NBA Finals had on their bodies. There's a lot of uncertainty on when fans can return to arenas at full capacity. Thus, it's been really hard for the league office and players' union to come up with financial and time-efficient solutions for next season. The whole schedule has been delayed, which will in consequence delay the start of the next couple of seasons. The finances of the league have been shaken, which will in turn force the league to reassess the split of money between players and team owners in the future, as well as adjusting the previously growing salary cap predictions to make basketball decisions. Many fans have also criticized the league for its now highly political environment, claiming they watch sports to free their minds from outside problems, but are now seeing them everywhere. Ratings plummeted without fans in stands, and with much less people watching games live, we're not exaggerating when we say the league has literally been changed forever. At the end of the day, the NBA has to find a way to move on. Nobody's going to intervene to help, and nobody's going to feel sorry for athletes who earn millions and millions of dollars every year. But if history has proven something, it's that the NBA often comes up with ideal solutions to try and move forward in the best possible manner. Still, it doesn't make things any easier with all of the problems yet to solve. That's why the 2019-2020 season changed the whole NBA forever. How long do you think it'll take the league to recover from this life-altering season? Will the NBA ever be like the league we all knew and loved before this year? Let us know in the comments down below. And as always, don't forget to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel.